The world outside hums with a persistent, distant music. The rustle of leaves, the low murmur of a far-off engine, the faint rhythm of your own breath. These are the outer edges of experience, the surface of a much deeper sea. To explore the landscape within, one must first learn to turn away from this gentle noise. It is not a shutting out, but a quiet turning, like shifting one's gaze from a bustling horizon to the still, reflective surface of a lake. Let the sound soften. Let the light behind your eyelids become the only light you attend to. There is a space that opens when the external world recedes, a quiet harbor waiting just behind the eyes. This is the threshold. It is not a door to be forced, but a curtain of soft shadow to be parted with a curious and patient hand. Beyond it lies a world of soft light and quieter sounds. Imagine it not as a cold, mechanical organ, but as a living, breathing landscape. A vast and intricate country, illuminated from within by its own gentle luminescence. It is a place of whispering pathways and glowing structures, a silent, pulsing universe contained within the quiet dark of your own skull. This is your mind's true home, a place where thoughts are not sharp words but soft formations of light, where memories are not dusty records but preserved moments of warmth, where feelings are not chaotic storms but blooming gardens of colored radiance. It is a world that operates on a logic of whispers and echoes, of gentle currents and soft pulses. The journey inward requires no special tools, only a willingness to be still and to observe. There is no map, for the territory is unique to you, yet its fundamental beauty is a shared human inheritance. With each breath, you can go a little deeper, leaving the clamor of the outside for the profound quiet within. So take a breath and then another. Feel the weight of your body settling. Listen to the quieting of the world. The threshold is here now in this moment of simple awareness. Cross it with a sense of gentle curiosity and prepare to explore the luminous, living landscape of your own mind. It has been waiting for you, patient and silent, your entire life. From the soft shadows of the threshold, the inner gaze drifts forward, and a new vista unfolds. A vast, serene expanse that seems to hold its own gentle light. This is the cerebral cortex, the quiet harbor where the mind's most delicate thoughts first form. It stretches in every direction, a seemingly endless sea of soft, interconnected radiance, its surface as still and reflective as twilight on a mountain lake. Here, there is no harshness, only a profound and shimmering peace. The architecture of this place is not one of stone and steel, but of living, pulsing light, woven into folds and furrows like gentle waves frozen in a moment of perfect calm. A low, warm hum, felt more than heard, permeates the air, the collective whisper of 100 billion possibilities resting in patient potential. Occasionally, a thought begins. It does not erupt, but rather gathers, a subtle quickening of light deep below the surface. It rises slowly, a soft, luminous ripple that expands outward across the still sea, its edges fading into the surrounding glow without a sound. Each ripple is a nascent idea, a fragment of recognition, a quiet question asked of the inner silence. They cross and merge in a silent, intricate dance, their gentle interactions the foundation of all peaceful contemplation. The texture of this space is one of impossible softness, a velvet darkness illuminated from within. The air carries a scent like ozone after a gentle rain, clean and electric with latent life. It is neither hot nor cold, but holds a perfect, comforting temperature, the warmth of a mind at rest. This harbor is the seat of gentle reason and quiet perception, the place where the raw light of sensation is first given soft form. It is the calm before the whisper, the stillness before the intention. To drift here is to understand that thought itself is not a shout, but a barely perceptible disturbance on an infinite, placid sea, beautiful, transient, and profoundly peaceful. It is a place to simply be and observe, to feel the soft pulse of your own consciousness reflected in the quiet, shimmering dark. There is no need to go further, not yet. For now, it is enough to rest in this harbor of light, cradled by its gentle waves, before the journey continues along the glimmering pathways that lead deeper in. From the placid sea of the cortex, the journey now descends, following the soft, inviting trails that branch out like veins of starlight against a velvet sky. These are the neural pathways, the glimmering roads upon which the quiet whispers of the mind begin their travels. They are not harsh or rigid, but gentle, living threads of light, pulsing with a soft, rhythmic warmth that feels like the echo of a distant heartbeat. To drift along one is to feel a subtle current, a flow of intention so delicate it is barely a suggestion of movement. The light here is a soft gold, and along its length travel tiny sparks of energy, each one a silent messenger. They move not like frantic signals, but like a slow procession of fireflies on a summer evening, each carrying a tiny parcel of focus, a fragment of a thought not yet fully formed. They do not race, but glide, their passage a serene and purposeful dance. The air along these pathways carries a whisper, the sound of electricity translated into something gentler, the soft rustle of silk, the faint chime of distant bells, the sigh of a breath held and then released. It is the sound of the mind at work, stripped of all urgency, a language of light and quiet vibration. The texture underfoot, if one could call it that, is one of yielding softness, like walking on moss or warm mist, offering no resistance to the observer's passage. These trails branch and intersect in a lacework of incredible complexity, yet there is no sense of chaos, only a harmonious, weaving order. At each junction, the firefly lights pause, as if in quiet conference before choosing their next direction, their soft glow intensifying for a moment with the weight of their silent decision. This is where a simple intention to move a finger begins its journey, where the focus to listen to a single note of music is born, a quiet spark embarking on an immense, internal voyage. The atmosphere is one of deep, focused calm, a suspension in which every action is contemplated before it is undertaken. It is a network built not for speed, but for grace, each impulse given the space and silence to be exactly what it is. To travel these glimmering pathways is to understand the profound peace that underlies even the simplest act of will, to see the gentle, luminous architecture of a quiet command before it becomes a motion in the world. Deeper still, the singular path widens, its gentle light spilling into a luminous crossroads where countless other trails converge. Here, the quiet fireflies of thought do not merely pass one another. They meet, their soft glows merging for a heartbeat before parting ways, each subtly changed by the encounter. This is no simple junction but a living tapestry of connection, a silent, swirling dance of light that underlies every gentle movement and peaceful thought. The air thrums with a warmer, richer resonance, the collective whisper of a million conversations happening at once, yet the overall effect is one of profound harmony. It is the sound of a distant choir heard through water, each voice distinct yet blending into a single, soothing chord. The light itself seems to breathe, pulsing in slow, organic rhythms that mirror the quiet tide of intention flowing through the entire system. Where one pathway ends, three others begin, each branching into finer and finer threads of soft radiance, like capillaries of light feeding a vast, unseen organ. To observe this network is to watch the birth of coordination, the effortless lift of a cup, the soft blink of an eye, the unconscious shift in posture. Each action is a symphony conducted in absolute silence, its score written in these intertwining strands of gold. The texture here is one of woven warmth, like resting a hand on sun-drenched silk. There is a scent of clean rain and something sweet, like honey dissolving in tea, the aroma of effortless function. At the heart of a particularly dense knot of light, a complex intention forms, not a shouted command, but a gathered consensus of soft sparks, aligning their glow until a unified pulse of purpose travels downward toward the waiting muscles. This is the mind's quiet choreography, the unseen ballet that makes grace possible. There is no struggle, only flow, no friction, only the gentle yielding of one pathway to another in perfect time. It is a dance that has been practiced a lifetime, each step a whisper, each turn a sigh of light, creating the seamless miracle of a body at peace with its own existence. To witness it is to feel a deep tenderness for this intricate, self-sustaining art, the beautiful, silent machinery of a thought becoming emotion, without a single sound. Leaving the intricate dance of the pathways behind, the journey descends into a deeper quiet, a place where the air itself seems hushed with reverence. The warm gold of the neural trails gives way to a softer, more diffuse light, the color of old parchment illuminated from within. This is the hippocampus, not a structure of cold biology, but a vast and silent library, a sanctuary for the soul's most tender possessions. There are no shelves, no dusty books bound in leather. Instead, the space is filled with floating orbs of light, each one a self-contained world, drifting in the still air with the gentle buoyancy of soap bubbles. They glow with a soft, internal radiance, some pulsing with a warm, golden hue, others shimmering with the cool silver of moonlight on water. They do not jostle or collide, but move in a slow, respectful orbit around one another, their light casting soft, shifting patterns on the unseen walls of this immense, quiet chamber. The silence here is profound but not empty. It is a listening silence, thick with the echo of a million preserved moments. If one strains, the air carries the faintest impression of sound, not words, but the ghost of a laughter, the sigh of a summer breeze long past, the distant chime of a forgotten bell. It is a library where the stories are not read but felt, reaching out not with a hand but with a quiet intention. One orb drifts closer. Its surface is not solid but has the texture of warm mist, yielding to the gentlest touch. It holds not facts or data but the essence of an experience, the specific warmth of a blanket on a cold morning, the exact weight of a sleeping child in one's arms, the sharp, sweet taste of a first strawberry. Each orb is a perfect vessel of feeling, a captured moment suspended in the amber of memory. The air carries a scent of old paper and dried roses, of sunlight on wood floors, the smell of time itself, patient and kind. The temperature is constant, a perfect, comforting warmth that speaks of safety and preservation. This is where the mind keeps what it cannot bear to lose, not for utility, but for love. Each glowing sphere is a quiet testament to a life lived, a feeling felt, a moment that mattered enough to be saved from the relentless flow of time. To drift through this library is to be surrounded by the soft light of a personal history, a constellation of cherished experiences that together form the quiet, glowing map of a self. It is a place of deep, tender peace, where every memory is safe, every moment honored, and the only sound is the gentle, almost imperceptible hum of a heart remembering. From the quiet constellation of the library, one particular orb drifts closer, its light a warm, buttery gold that seems to pulse with a gentle, inviting rhythm. It feels different from the others, not brighter but fuller, as if containing a sunlit afternoon held perfectly intact. With the softest intention, not a grasp but a welcoming thought, it is drawn near. The orb does not break, but yields, its mist-like surface parting like a curtain of light. There is no sound of tearing, only a sigh of release, and then the memory unfolds. It does not explode into being, but blooms, its sensory layers peeling back with the tender slowness of a flower opening at dawn. First comes the warmth, not a memory of heat, but the heat itself, the specific, drowsy warmth of a late summer sun soaking through a cotton shirt. It spreads across the skin, a comfortable, heavy radiance that speaks of long, unhurried hours. Then the scent arrives on a soft, imaginary breeze, the sweet, dry perfume of sun-baked grass, undercut by the rich, dark smell of freshly turned earth from a nearby garden. The light of the library dims, replaced by the high, brilliant blue of a childhood sky, seen from a vantage point close to the ground. The world is a tapestry of green blades and the delicate architecture of clover. A ladybug, a polished bead of crimson and jet, navigates the jungle of stems with patient determination. There is no narrative, no story to follow. Only the pure, unadulterated sensation of being, the tickle of grass against bare ankles, the distant, melodic call of a mother's voice, not as words but as a soothing tone that means safety and home. The taste of lemonade, sharp and sweet, lingering on the tongue from a drink finished moments before. The feeling is not one of nostalgia but of presence. It is the experience itself, preserved in its entirety, the simple, profound peace of a moment when the world was small, safe, and suffused with a golden light. The weight of time, of worry, of complexity has not yet been learned. There is only the sun, the grass, the quiet hum of life, and a heart so full of a nameless, tender joy that it feels like it might glow from within. The memory holds you in its gentle embrace for a timeless interval, not as an observer but as a participant once more. Then, as softly as it began, the sensation starts to recede. The warmth fades from the skin, the scent of grass dissolves into the library's fragrance of old paper, and the brilliant blue sky contracts back into the soft, golden sphere. It floats once more among its brothers, its light perhaps a fraction dimmer, its treasure shared. The library returns to its profound silence, now holding the quiet echo of a perfect, sun-drenched afternoon, forever safe within its walls of soft, remembering light. Deeper within the quiet library, the air grows softer, the light more diffuse. Here, the orbits of the memory orb slow, their gentle drift more languid, as if moving through water thicker than air. These are not the vibrant spheres of recent or cherished moments, but those whose light has softened with the passage of unseen seasons. Their glow is not the warm gold of a summer afternoon, but the pale silver of a winter moon, or the faint, dusty rose of a sunset almost forgotten. To drift among them is to feel a gentle melancholy, not of loss, but of tender release. These orbs do not pulse with the same eager warmth. Their light is a quiet, constant ember, a soft sigh held in suspension. They are memories that have been gently laid down, their sharp edges worn smooth by the quiet currents of time. Their surfaces feel cooler to the touch, like smooth river stones warmed only by the faintest echo of the sun. Some are so faint they are barely more than suggestions of light, translucent ghosts of moments that have almost returned to the silence from which they came. They hold not the full sensory weight of experience, but a mere impression, the shadow of a feeling without its name, the ghost of a scent without its source, the faintest echo of a laughter whose cause is long gone. They are like half-remembered lyrics to a song once loved, the melody still felt in the bones though the words have faded. The air here carries a different scent, not of old paper and roses, but of clean linen left to dry in a cool breeze, of distant rain on dry earth. It is the smell of things settling, of peaceful resignation. There is no sound of whispers here, only a deeper, more profound silence, a listening quiet that seems to honor the gentle process of letting go. Touching one of these fading lights does not bring a flood of sensation, but a soft, vague warmth, like the memory of warmth rather than the thing itself. It might offer a fleeting image, the color of a dress once worn, the pattern of light on a wall in a room no longer visited, before it retreats back into its gentle dimness. There is no struggle in this forgetting, only a natural, graceful surrender, as necessary as the falling of leaves in autumn. This is not a place of failure or neglect, but a sacred annex in the library of the self. It is where the mind, with infinite gentleness, makes space for the new by tenderly releasing its hold on the old. Each fading light is a thing once held close, now blessed and set free, its essence absorbed back into the quiet hum of being. To witness this soft decay is to understand that forgetting, too, is a form of kindness, a beautiful, necessary whisper in the ongoing story of a mind, ensuring that only the most essential lights continue to burn bright. Leaving the hushed, silvered light of forgotten things, the inner gaze is drawn toward a subtle living warmth that seems to beckon from a deeper, more organic layer of the mind. The cool, archival silence of the library gives way to a soft, humid breath, carrying the rich scent of damp earth and night-blooming flowers. This is the descent into the limbic system, not a descent into chaos, but into a different kind of order, a lush, moonlit garden where the very air seems to pulse with a quiet, emotional life. The light here is not the sharp gold of thought or the soft silver of memory, but a diffuse, ethereal glow, as if the ground itself were illuminated by a hidden, gentle moon. It filters through a canopy of soft, velvety leaves, casting shifting patterns of shadow and radiance. And everywhere, blooming from the dark, fertile soil and twining up delicate, unseen trellises, are the flowers of feeling. They are not flowers as the outside world knows them, but bioluminescent blossoms of pure emotion, each a self-contained world of color and sensation. A cluster nearby glows with a warm, buttery yellow, radiating a soft, infectious contentment that feels like the first day of a long-awaited holiday. Its petals seem to pulse slowly, breathing out a gentle warmth that settles on the skin like a comforting blanket. Further on, a single, exquisite flower holds a deep, serene blue light, the color of a twilight sky reflected on a still lake. It does not radiate heat, but a cool, calming presence, a quiet melancholy that holds no sharpness, only a tender, beautiful sorrow. A faint, crystalline chime seems to emanate from its center, a sound that cleanses rather than wounds. The textures here are impossibly soft. The path underfoot is mossy and yielding, each step silent. Reaching out to feel the air near a flower of vibrant, excited orange is to feel a playful, effervescent tingle, like the fizz of champagne bubbles against the skin. The air itself is thick and warm, heavy with the perfume of 1,000 different blooms, sweet honeysuckle, sharp citrus, the comforting scent of baking bread, each scent tied inextricably to the emotion it represents. There is no judgment in this garden, no hierarchy of good or bad feelings. A low-lying flower of soft, gray apprehension sits beside a brilliant spike of proud magenta, each accorded its own space and quiet dignity. They do not speak, but communicate through shifts in their light and the subtle, warm or cool breezes they generate. A silent language of the heart understood not by the thinking mind, but by the soul. To wander here is to remember that every feeling, from the gentlest affection to the quietest ache, is a natural, beautiful part of the inner landscape. They are not storms to be weathered, but flowers to be acknowledged, each with its own unique color, its own soft light, its own essential place in the deep, moonlit soil of the self. Deeper into the moon-washed garden, the true nature of this emotional landscape reveals itself. It is not a collection of solitary blooms, but a living, breathing ecosystem where feelings exist not in isolation, but in a constant, silent conversation. Here, the individual lights do more than glow. They communicate, they influence, they hold each other in a delicate, luminous balance. A flower of pure, sun-bright joy pulses with a sudden, warmer intensity, its light expanding in a gentle wave. This soft radiance washes over a nearby cluster of smaller, paler buds, which were glowing with a hesitant, uncertain light. Touched by the warmth, their own luminescence brightens, their petals unfurling a little more, as if encouraged by the surrounding happiness. They do not become joy themselves, but are comforted by its presence, their own unique colors deepening with a newfound confidence. In a quieter corner, a blossom of deep indigo sadness dims, its light retreating inward as if weighted by an unseen sorrow. But instead of being ignored, the surrounding flowers respond. A gentle, pearlescent bloom of compassion leans closer, its light not pitying but understanding, offering a soft, cool glow that seems to hold the space around the dimming indigo without trying to change it. From another direction, a steady, grounding emerald light, the color of resilience, emanates from a low, sturdy plant, its presence a silent testament to endurance. The sad flower is not cheered. It is simply, tenderly held. Its light steadies, no longer fading but resting within this gentle, supportive embrace. The air itself is the medium for this silent dialogue. It carries not just scents, but temperatures and textures. A wave of comforting warmth from a flower of security. A cool, clarifying breeze from one of focused determination. A complex feeling like bittersweet nostalgia might manifest as a vine where two lights intertwine. a soft gold of fond memory and a pale lavender of gentle loss, woven together into a single, beautiful strand that hums with a quiet, poignant music. There is no conflict here, only a beautiful, fluid dance of interdependence. A spike of anxious orange might shiver, its light flickering rapidly, but it is soon surrounded by the soft, slow pulse of calming blue flowers, their cooler light tempering the flutter until it settles into a steady, manageable amber glow of alertness. It is a self-regulating garden, where every shadow is met with light, every quickening met with calm, every feeling acknowledged and integrated into the whole. To witness this is to understand that emotions are not solitary events, but part of a continuous internal weather system, beautiful, necessary, and always in motion. They bloom, they interact, they shift and change, each one playing its part in the overall climate of the self. The garden does not seek a perpetual, sunny happiness, but a harmonious wholeness, where every shade of feeling has its place and is met with the gentle, healing light of another. It is a lesson in inner compassion, written in light and whispered on the warm, fragrant air. Leaving the fragrant, moonlit interplay of the garden behind, the journey descends further, following a gentle, downward-sloping path that feels older, more fundamental. The air grows stiller, the light dimmer, taking on a deep, resonant crimson, like the glow within a closed fist held to the sun. The complex perfumes of emotion fade, replaced by a simpler, more essential scent, the clean, metallic tang of deep earth and the faint, ozonic whisper of pure energy. This is the descent to the brainstem, the ancient rhythmic core. Here, the intricate dances of thought and feeling give way to something more primal, more steady. It is not a place of stories or symphonies, but of a single, unwavering drumbeat that has continued since the very first breath. The space feels cavernous, yet intimately close, the walls not of light but of warm, living stone that pulses with a slow, immense power. The sound is the first thing that truly registers, a deep, resonant hum that is felt in the bones more than heard by the ears. It is a double rhythm, a perfect, eternal duet, the deep, hollow thrum of a heartbeat and the softer, sighing rush of breath. Together, they form a foundational music, the bass note upon which the entire symphony of consciousness is built. There is no visual spectacle here, no branching pathways or blooming flowers. Instead, there is only the pulse. It manifests as a soft, deep light that swells and recedes in perfect time with the body's essential rhythms. With each expansion, a wave of warm, vital energy radiates outward, traveling up the pathways already traveled, infusing the cortex, the hippocampus, the limbic garden with the life required for their beautiful complexities. With each contraction, a gentle pull draws spent energy back, a silent, rhythmic tide. The texture of this place is one of immense, quiet strength, like resting a hand on the flank of a sleeping giant. The air is warm and moist, carrying the scent of a deep, underground spring. To be here is to be at the very source, the quiet engine room of being. All the soft lights and whispered conversations above depend entirely on this deep, steady drum, this quiet pulse that asks for nothing, never falters and never sleeps. It is a humbling, deeply peaceful experience. The worries of the cortex, the passions of the limbic system, the echoes of the hippocampus, they are all beautiful, but they are also guests in a house built and maintained by this silent, ancient keeper. Here there is no past or future, only the eternal, gentle now of the next beat, the next breath. It is the unshakable foundation, the quiet pulse that whispers the most essential truth of all. I am here. I am alive. From the deep, resonant pulse of the brainstem, the awareness rises gently, not back toward the intricate structures above, but into the very medium that connects them, the fluid, living space between. Here, the warm crimson glow softens into a hazy, golden twilight, and the steady drumbeat fades to a whisper, replaced by a new kind of motion. This is the realm of the silent conversation, where messages are carried not on pathways of light, but on the soft, drifting currents of the air itself. They are everywhere, these messengers, countless particles of soft, glowing pollen adrift in the gentle atmosphere. Some shine with a calming, blue-white luminescence, moving in slow, meandering spirals that leave trails of tranquil light in their wake. Others pulse with a soft, alert amber, traveling in quicker, more direct lines, their purpose clear and focused. They do not collide or hurry, but float with a serene purpose, each a tiny vessel of intention, a chemical word in the silent language of mood and mind. To observe them is to watch a slow, beautiful ballet. A cloud of the blue-white pollen drifts toward a structure glowing with the faint silver of a quiet memory, settling upon it like a soft blanket of snow. Almost immediately, the memory's light deepens, its edges softening, as a profound and gentle calm permeates its essence. Elsewhere, a cluster of the amber particles gathers at the root of a pathway, their collective glow intensifying into a warm, focused beam that travels upward, readying the network for a moment of quiet attention. The air itself is the medium of this dialogue, thick and warm, carrying the subtle scent of rain on hot stone and the clean, sweet fragrance of night-blooming jasmine. It has a texture, too, a slight, effervescent tingle where the alertness pollen gathers, a velvety smoothness in the wake of the calming drift. There is sound, but only the softest imaginable, the faintest sigh of a particle moving through space, the almost imperceptible chime of one chemical meeting its intended destination, a harmony of tiny, perfect notes. This is the beautiful, silent chemistry of being. It is not a harsh transaction, but a tender offering, a continuous, gentle negotiation between alertness and rest, between engagement and peace. A flower in the garden of feeling may brighten not because of a thought, but because a shower of golden pollen, the soft light of contentment, has descended upon it, coaxing its petals to open wider. The quiet pulse from below is moderated by these drifting emissaries, its rhythm soothed or quickened by their silent counsel. There is no commander here, no central will directing the flow. It is a conversation between equals, a democracy of delicate influences where every participant has a voice. To drift through this space is to understand that mood is not a state to be achieved, but a weather pattern created by these countless, gentle interactions. A silent, beautiful, and endlessly complex conversation that paints the inner world with the soft colors of calm and the warm light of awareness, all without uttering a single word. The gentle currents of the chemical conversation begin to still, their luminous pollen settling like dust motes in a sunbeam as the awareness is drawn upward, toward a new and profound darkness. The warm, golden twilight fades, replaced by a cool, expectant hush. The air grows thin and clear, carrying a scent like the crisp, metallic chill of a winter night just after a snowfall. This is the ascent to the visual cortex, the mind's own private observatory, where the light of the outer world is invited in and transformed into the starry sky of inner sight. The space reveals itself not as a chamber, but as a vast domed amphitheater, its curved walls and ceiling a perfect, seamless velvet black, an infinite canvas awaiting its artist. The floor is cool and smooth underfoot, like polished obsidian, reflecting nothing but the profound dark. The silence here is absolute, a listening silence so deep it feels like the pause between heartbeats, holding its breath in anticipation. Then the first point of light appears. It is not a thought, not a memory, not a feeling. It is a pure signal, a pinprick of white-hot intensity that pierces the darkness high on the dome. It is followed by another, and then another, until a sparse, beautiful constellation begins to form. These are the first messengers from the eyes, the raw data of photons captured and translated into this silent, internal language of light. More signals arrive, not in a flood, but in a gentle, rhythmic shower. They do not simply appear, they bloom. Each point expands softly upon arrival, its light diffusing into a delicate, shimmering shape. The curve of a distant hill against a twilight sky, the familiar outline of a window frame, the soft blur of a face known and loved. They are not photographs, but living impressions, painted with light on the dark dome, each one holding the essence of form and shadow, of line and depth. The atmosphere is one of reverent wonder. There is no sound of creation, only the visual poetry of the world being composed in real time. The images are transient, lasting only as long as the gaze itself, yet in their brief life, they are utterly peaceful and complete. A memory of a sunbeam on a wooden floor is projected with such tender clarity that one can almost feel its warmth. The sight of rain on a window pane is rendered in 1,000 shimmering points of liquid light. To stand in this observatory is to understand that sight is not a passive reception, but an active, gentle collaboration. The dark dome is not empty. It is a prepared space, a silent witness that welcomes the light and gives it form, meaning, and peace. It is where the chaos of external vision is ordered into the serene images of a world seen from within. A personal, starry sky where every point of light is a quiet miracle of perception, a testament to the beautiful, silent alchemy of turning light into understanding. From the silent, star-dusted dome of sight, the awareness is drawn not by a path, but by a resonance, a soft, magnetic pull toward a different kind of perception. The crisp, visual chill of the observatory melts away, replaced by a warmer, humming darkness. The air itself seems to thicken, becoming a receptive medium, vibrating with a potential that is felt deep within the bones. This is the auditory cortex, not a chamber to be entered, but a sacred, resonant space where vibration is alchemized into the soft, internal music of being. The architecture here is all curves and hollows, a labyrinth of smooth, shell-like structures that seem carved from mother of pearl, glowing with a soft, internal luminescence. The walls are not solid, but living membranes, sensitive and taut, waiting to be stirred. The silence here is not empty, but pregnant, a listening silence that holds the echo of every sound that has ever been, a deep, foundational hum that is the body's own quiet song. Then the first note arrives. It does not crash or shout, but manifests as a gentle ripple across one of the pearlescent walls, a soft disturbance that spreads outward in perfect, concentric circles of light. It is not a noise, but the memory of a noise, the distant melodic call of a specific voice, perhaps a mother's from long ago, translated into a warm, golden vibration that tingles against the skin. The ripple holds its shape for a moment, a perfect, shimmering orb of sonic memory, before dissolving back into the waiting silence, leaving behind a tender warmth. More vibrations follow, each a different texture, a different color of feeling. The complex, joyful chaos of a symphony heard in a grand hall is not a roar, but a shower of iridescent sparks, each one a distinct instrument, a cello's rich mahogany pulse, a violin's silvery cry, dancing together in a silent, intricate lattice of light before fading. The sound of rain becomes a soft, percussive patter of cool blue droplets against the membranes, each one a tiny, perfect sphere of peace. But the most profound music is found in the absence of external sound. The resonance of silence itself is the cortex's true masterpiece. It is a low, warm, ohm-like drone that seems to emanate from the very center of the space, a foundational note upon which all other sounds are built. It is the sound of the mind listening to itself, a peaceful, eternal exhale that holds the space for all other melodies to come and go. To be here is to understand that hearing is not a capture, but an interpretation. A frightened shout from the outside world is softened into a quick, sharp flare of concerned amber light, its edges soothed by the surrounding hum. A whispered secret becomes a curl of silvery mist, felt as a cool, intimate caress. Every vibration, from the crash of a wave to the rustle of a page, is translated into this internal language of soft, light and gentle resonance, stripped of all harshness, transformed into a component of the endless, beautiful symphony playing within the quiet cradle of the skull. It is the music of a life, heard not with the ears, but with the soul. A subtle shift occurs in the inner world's atmosphere, a gentle dimming of its steady lights as if a soft, lavender dusk is settling over the entire landscape. The clear, defined structures of the waking mind, the observatory's starry dome, the garden's luminous blooms, begin to soften at their edges, their forms bleeding into the growing twilight like watercolors on damp paper. The deep, resonant hum of the brainstem continues its eternal rhythm, but now it serves as the bedrock upon which a new, more fluid reality begins to form. This is the descent into the hypnagogic state, the threshold of sleep where the mind's careful architect steps aside, and the weaver of dreams takes up the threads. The first signs are not images, but textures of light. The orderly pathways, once clear trails of gold, now loosen their structure. Their light unravels into luminous tendrils that drift and curl like sea grass in a soft current. The memory orbs in their quiet library stir from their fixed orbits, their surfaces shimmering with a new, restless energy. They release not whole memories, but fragments, a splash of cobalt that was once the sea, a warmth that was a specific handhold, the ghost of a scent from a forgotten room. These fragments do not fade, but hang in the dusky air, swirling in slow, languid eddies. The air itself changes, losing its distinct temperatures and scents, blending into a single, warm, velvety medium that carries the faint, sweet taste of possibility. The silence of the observatory and the symphony hall is replaced by a low, melodic murmur, the sound of 1,000 thoughts unspooling, their logical connections dissolving into a harmonic, nonsensical whisper. It is the sound of the mind relaxing its grip, of boundaries dissolving. There is no fear in this softening, only a profound and yielding curiosity. The sense of a guided journey fades. The observer is no longer traveling a path, but is suspended within the twilight, watching as the raw materials of consciousness, light, memory, emotion, sensation, begin to detach from their daytime anchors. They float free, drawn together by a mysterious, gentle magnetism, coalescing into vague, shimmering clouds that pulse with a soft, internal logic. This is the gathering before the storm of dreams, a quiet, chaotic beauty where the mind's components are stirred into a primordial soup of potential. The intricate, waking order gives way to a fluid, creative chaos, a playground where anything can connect to anything else. A spark from the motor cortex might brush against a feeling of exhilaration from the garden, and together they spin a thread of sensation that feels like falling upward. A half-forgotten word from the language centers drifts into a pool of cool blue light from the observatory, creating a concept that has no name but feels like home. It is a time of immense, quiet creativity, witnessed from a place of deep surrender. The weaver has not yet begun its tapestry in earnest, but is patiently, gently collecting its silks and dyes from the corners of the mind, preparing to spin the gossamer and light of the night's first dream. From the gathering twilight, a purpose emerges. The swirling fragments of light and sensation are no longer adrift. They are drawn by an unseen hand, a gentle gravity that pulls them toward a central point in the soft dark. This is the loom, not a structure of wood and thread, but a living, pulsing nexus of intention where the dream begins to take its true shape. The weaver itself is not a figure to be seen, but a presence felt in the graceful, inevitable convergence of elements, a silent composer arranging a symphony of whispers. The tapestry does not form all at once, but layer by delicate layer. A strand of silver light, the ghost of a moonlit walk, weaves itself into a foundation. Upon it, droplets of emerald emotion, a feeling of profound peace from a long-ago forest, settle like dew, beating and running into the shape of leaves on an unseen tree. A forgotten scent of rain on hot asphalt drifts into the mix, and suddenly the silver light becomes the sheen on a wet street at midnight. The emerald leaves now rustling in the canopy of a tree that wasn't there a moment before. There is no story, no narrative to follow, only a beautiful, illogical progression that feels more true than fact. A face assembled from the warm gold of a cherished memory and the cool porcelain of a forgotten statue smiles without a mouth, its eyes holding the deep blue of a childhood swimming hole. The image holds for a heartbeat, radiating a complex emotion that is both joy and longing. Before it dissolves, its components flowing away to be used elsewhere. The logic here is one of feeling, of resonance. Things are drawn together not because they belong, but because they harmonize. The steady pulse from the brainstem provides a rhythm, a deep, reassuring drumbeat under the flickering imagery. A whisper of a half-remembered conversation overlaps with the sensation of floating, and the dreamer is suddenly both listener and levitator, held aloft by the sound of a voice. Textures blend and transform under this gentle guidance. What begins as the rough grain of a wooden desk under fingertips melts into the soft fur of a sleeping cat, which then dissolves into the cool, smooth surface of a river stone. Each transformation is seamless, a perfect, surreal evolution that the dreaming mind accepts without question. The air is thick with the hum of this creation, a warm, melodic vibration that is the sound of meaning being made from mystery. To watch the weaver at work is to understand that a dream is not a random firing of neurons, but a gentle, purposeful reorganization of the self. It is the mind sorting through the day's light and the lifetime's echoes, weaving them into a new and temporary truth. The tapestry it creates is a thing of profound, nonsensical beauty, a landscape of emotion, a portrait of a feeling, a map of the heart's quiet, nightly journey. It is held together by a gentle, mysterious logic all its own, a silent, stunning proof that even in rest, the mind is never still but always softly creating. The weaver's tapestry shifts, its threads of moonlight and memory dissolving into a new, breathtaking configuration. The solidity of the dreamscape falls away, not with a lurch but with a gentle sigh of release. The familiar pull of weight, the constant, quiet anchor of the body, simply ceases to be. This is the genesis of the universal dream, the silent, exhilarating unspooling of flight. There is no ground to push from, no wings to beat. The ascent is effortless, a natural buoyancy of the spirit. The air, which moments before had the texture of woven silk, now becomes a soft, supportive medium, a warm ocean of twilight that holds you aloft with infinite gentleness. It parts before you without resistance, flowing over the skin like liquid satin, carrying a scent of clean, high-altitude wind and the distant, sweet perfume of night-blooming stars. Below, the fragmented landscapes of the dream recede into a beautiful, indistinct tapestry of soft lights and deeper shadows, the glowing grid of a sleeping city seen from a great height, the dark velvet of a forest, the silver ribbon of a meandering river. They have no names, no geography. They are merely impressions of a world left behind, beautiful and unimportant. The sensation is not one of speed, but of profound, weightless freedom. A thought is enough to change direction, to glide upward on a thermal of pure joy, to spiral downward in a slow, graceful dive that pulls at the spirit without a trace of fear. The motor cortex, the quiet architect of movement, is not directing limbs but conducting a symphony of liberation. Its sparks travel not down confined pathways, but burst into silent, celebratory fireworks that illuminate the inner sky with feelings of unbound potential and quiet euphoria. There is no sound of wind rushing past, only the soft, internal music of absolute liberty, a high, clear, wordless note that seems to sing from the very center of being. It is the sound of a heart unburdened, a mind released from the laws of earth and bone. The fear of falling is not absent, it is impossible. This space, this motion, is the most natural state imaginable, a truth known only in the deepest, most honest parts of the self. The body is forgotten, its limits a distant rumor. All that exists is the gentle push against the warm, dark air, the stardusted expanse above, and the quiet, soaring joy that hums through every particle of the dreaming self. It is a neural dance of pure possibility, a fleeting return to a time before gravity, a silent prayer of the spirit answered in the language of light and lift. To dream of flying is to remember, for a few precious moments, that the truest weight is not that of the body, but of the soul, and here in the soft dark, it has been gently set free. The soaring ecstasy of the flight dream begins to soften at its edges, its boundless freedom gently tethered by a new, quiet rhythm. The warm, supportive air that held the dreamer aloft grows subtly denser, its satin texture gaining the faintest suggestion of weight. The high, clear note of liberty begins to harmonize with a softer, more familiar sound, the deep, resonant sigh of a breath being drawn in sleep, the quiet anchor of the physical self reasserting its gentle claim. The stardusted expanse above the dreamscape dims, its brilliant pinpricks of light softening into the warm, peach-colored glow of dawn filtering through closed eyelids. The sensation of effortless buoyancy recedes, not as a fall, but as a gradual, gentle settling. The mind, the master weaver, begins its soft work of dissolution, patiently unpicking the threads of its beautiful, nonsensical tapestry. The fragmented landscapes below, the city grids and silver rivers, melt like mist under a morning sun, their forms losing distinction and bleeding back into the undifferentiated twilight from which they came. The memory of the flying feeling itself does not vanish but is carefully folded, a precious garment of sensation placed back into the quiet archives of the library, its light now a soft, contented ember. Awareness returns not as a jolt, but as a slow, gentle tide. The inner landscape, so vast and fluid in dreams, begins to brighten and solidify. The pathways of light which had unraveled into tendrils now patiently reknit themselves, their golden glow steadying into familiar, orderly trails. The air loses its sweet, surreal taste of possibility, replaced by the clean, simple scent of a new day and the faint, comforting warmth of a blanket. The deep, rhythmic pulse from the brainstem, the eternal drummer, seems to play a little louder now, its steady thrum a gentle call back to the waking world. It is a call not of urgency, but of invitation. The body makes its presence known through a cascade of soft sensations. The weight of limbs against a mattress, the cool touch of cotton on skin, the faint, dry taste of a night's rest in the mouth. The transition is seamless, a quiet metamorphosis. The last vestiges of the dream, the ghost of wind on the face, the echo of weightlessness in the chest, linger for a moment like the fragrance of a flower after it has been taken from the room. They are not chased away, but are observed with a fond, peaceful wonder, appreciated for the beautiful gift they were before they finally dissolve into the waking light. There is no line between the two states, only a gentle blending, a slow and graceful return. The sleeper does not awaken so much as remember themselves, the conscious self gathering like morning dew. Each moment of awareness, a soft, bright bead coalescing into the peaceful, integrated whole of a new day. The journey inward is complete, for now, leaving behind a profound sense of peace and a lingering, tender wonder at the beautiful, mysterious world that exists just behind the eyes. From the lingering, tender wonder of the dream's gentle awakening, the awareness is drawn not by a path, but by a subtle, gathering luminescence. The soft, peach-colored glow of dawn within the mind deepens, concentrating into two distinct, interconnected pools of warm, liquid light. This is the realm of language, but not as it is known in the outer world, not as harsh, clashing sounds, but as a silent, beautiful play of shaped radiance. Here, in the quiet neighborhoods of Broca and Wernick, words are born not from the throat, but from the soul, formed and reformed in a continuous, gentle dance. The space feels like a workshop of light, airy and open, where the atmosphere hums with a soft, creative energy. The air is warm and carries the faint, clean scent of ozone after a summer rain, mixed with the comforting aroma of old, well-loved books. It is a place of quiet industry, where the raw materials of thought are patiently crafted into the delicate architecture of speech. In one pool, the light gathers into dense, glowing nodules, the seeds of words, not yet assigned to sound or meaning. They pulse with a soft, potential energy, like buds waiting to bloom. As an intention to speak forms, a gentle desire to express a feeling, to name a memory, these nodules are drawn upward. They do not shoot like sparks, but rise like bubbles in honey, turning and shifting as they ascend. This is where the silent impulse is given its first form, sculpted by an unseen hand into a specific, luminous shape. The curve of a question, the solid block of a statement, the soft flutter of an endearment. These shaped lights then drift, carried on a warm, gentle current to the second pool. Here, they are met not with analysis, but with understanding. Each form is immersed in the liquid radiance, and as it sinks, it is clothed in layers of softer, more diffuse light, the color of emotion, the texture of context, the warmth of personal history. A word shape born of joy is wrapped in a golden haze. One formed from sorrow is sheathed in a cool, compassionate blue. They are infused with their full, silent meaning, becoming more than labels. They become vessels of felt experience. The process is utterly silent, a beautiful pantomime of creation. The only sound is the soft, almost imperceptible sigh of light shifting against light, a whisper of meaning being woven into form. To observe this play is to understand that language at its origin is a gentle art. A sentence is not a blunt instrument, but a mobile of interconnected lights, each piece carefully balanced and glowing with its own soft significance, together creating a meaning more beautiful and complex than its parts. These crafted lights then travel outward, not as sounds, but as silent, glowing emissaries along the familiar neural pathways, ready to be translated into the soft whisper of internal thought or the gentle modulation of the breath that will become external speech. But here, at their source, they remain pure intention, a silent, luminous play where every word is a small, perfect world of light, and every conversation is a constellation of understanding, formed in the deepest, quietest forge of the mind. From the silent, luminous forge of language, the awareness is drawn by a new, subtle tension, a quiet hum of potential that resonates not with sound, but with the promise of graceful action. The warm, creative light of the speech centers gives way to a cooler, more focused luminescence, the color of moonlight on polished silver. The air, once thick with the scent of ozone and old books, now carries the clean, electric tang of a gathering storm, though no storm will come. This is the motor cortex, the mind's quiet architect, where the softest whisper of intention is translated into the beautiful, unconscious ballet of the body. The space is not a workshop, but a vast, serene map, a topographical landscape of light representing the entire physical form. It is a silent, shimmering homunculus laid out in the dark, each part glowing with a soft, patient readiness. The curve of a hand is traced in delicate filaments of silver. The subtle architecture of the face is a complex knot of gentle radiance. The long, powerful lines of the legs and spine are rivers of steady, cool light. It is a body of potential, a sculpture of pure intention waiting in the quiet dark. A thought arises, not as a word but as a feeling, the gentle desire to stretch, to feel the pleasant pull of muscle after long stillness. From the sea of the cortex, a single soft spark of golden light drifts downward, a quiet emissary of this nascent will. It does not race, but glides with serene purpose, arriving at the silver map of the shoulder. Upon contact, the light of that area quickens, its glow intensifying from a soft moonbeam to a warm, sun-touched silver. It is a silent, gentle yes. This affirmation is the first domino in a chain of exquisite grace. The quickened light does not shout a command, but breathes a silent invitation down the pathways already known. The spark's intention is passed, not pushed, from station to station. A soft pulse traveling along the golden roads with the effortless flow of water finding its course. At each junction, other lights pause, their glow flickering in quiet conference, aligning their own purpose to the original, gentle request. The air thrums with the silent poetry of this coordination. There is no sound of grinding gears or straining effort, only the soft, almost imperceptible sigh of energy being transferred, of circuits lighting up in perfect, harmonious sequence. The texture is one of yielding silk and warm oil, a frictionless, beautiful machinery operating in absolute hush. The scent is now the clean aroma of mountain air and fresh rain, the smell of effortless action. As the pulse reaches its destination, the intended motion begins, not a jerk, but an unfurling. The shoulder lifts, the arm extends, the fingers stretch toward an unseen ceiling. In the mind's eye, it is not bones and sinews moving, but a wave of soft light flowing through the silver map, a graceful, liquid motion captured in perfect silence. It is a ballet performed for an audience of one, its choreography written in light and executed with a precision that feels less like control and more like a natural, flowing expression of being. To witness this is to understand that movement is not a command shouted from a central tower, but a quiet consensus reached across a network of light. It is a gentle architecture of intention, where every gesture, from the blink of an eye to the stride of a run, begins as this soft spark, this quiet question asked of the body, answered by a beautiful, silent yes. It is the profound peace of a will effortlessly made manifest, the unseen, graceful art of a body dancing to the quiet music of its own mind. The journey through the mind's intricate landscapes, the shimmering seas, the whispering pathways, the fragrant gardens, has been a passage through the components of being. But now, a subtle shift occurs, a gentle drawing inward of the awareness itself. The external focus on structures and functions softens, and the traveler becomes acutely aware of the traveler. The sense of I that has been the quiet witness to it all now becomes the sole object of contemplation. This is the arrival at the default mode network, not a place to be visited, but the fundamental ground of being itself, the island of self. The frantic, beautiful industry of the mind seems to recede, its lights dimming to a soft background hum. The air grows profoundly still and clear, like the atmosphere in the eye of a gentle storm. There is no scent here, no temperature, no sound but the faint, eternal echo of one's own existence. It is a space of pure, undiluted awareness, a quiet harbor where the self floats, separate yet intimately connected to all the wonders it has observed. This I is not a loud, commanding voice, but a soft, constant light, a single, unwavering flame in the center of a vast and darkened room. It casts no harsh shadows, but illuminates everything with a gentle, accepting radiance. It is the silent curator in the library of moments, the peaceful wanderer in the garden of feeling, the awestruck observer in the star-domed observatory. It has felt the deep pulse of the brainstem and ridden the currents of the chemical breeze, yet it remains unchanged, the stable center around which the entire inner universe turns. To rest here is to understand that this quiet light of self is not another function to be analyzed, but the very space in which all functions occur. It is the canvas upon which the memories are painted, the stage upon which the emotions dance, the silent listener to the internal symphony. It holds the joy of the flying dream and the peace of the awakening without being any of those things itself. It simply is. There is a profound tenderness in this realization, a deep and quiet love for this persistent, gentle observer that has been there through every experience of a lifetime. It is the ultimate home, more familiar than any memory and more constant than any heartbeat. The intricate, beautiful machinery of the brain is its beloved home, and this soft light is the occupant, looking out through the windows of the senses with a sense of perpetual, peaceful wonder. The journey has not been about discovering something new, but about coming home to the one thing that has always been there, the quiet, luminous eye that watches, knows, and gently loves the beautiful, intricate world it finds within. From the profound peace of the self's quiet island, the awareness detects a subtle change in the inner climate. The still, clear air begins to quicken, charged with a new electric potential. The soft, background hum of the mind's activity sharpens in pitch, gaining a faint, tremulous urgency. This is not an invasion, but a natural shift in the weather of the self, the first gentle stirrings of what the outer world might call anxiety, but which here is simply a temporary quickening of the light. It begins not in the heart or the gut, but in the very pathways themselves. The gentle, golden roads that typically carry their firefly sparks with serene purpose now seem to brighten, their light intensifying from a soft glow to a keen, citrine shimmer. The sparks no longer glide. They flicker, their movement a rapid, stuttering dance that leaves faint afterimage trails in the charged air. It is not chaos, but a system-wide alert, a silent, luminous query sent through the network. What is that? Is something coming? The garden of feeling responds. A cluster of flowers that typically radiate a steady, contented gold now pulse with a vibrant, alert orange. Their light does not dim with fear, but vibrates with a heightened sensitivity, their petals trembling as if touched by a swift, unseen breeze. They broadcast not terror, but a wave of keen awareness, a readiness that is both exhilarating and unnerving. The air around them grows warmer, carrying a scent not of perfume, but of ozone and damp earth, the smell of the moment before a summer rain. The quiet pulse from the brainstem, the eternal drummer, remains steady, but its rhythm is now played against this new shimmering tension. The deep thrum is still there, a bedrock of stability, but overlaid upon it is a higher, faster counter-rhythm, a flutter, a silent hummingbird's wing of energy that courses through the system. It is the feeling of a heart prepared to beat faster, of breath held in anticipation. There is no narrative to this quickening, no story of danger. It is pure, unlabeled sensation, a gathering of resources, a focusing of attention, a biological poem of preparedness written in light and vibration. To observe it from the island of self is to feel it not as a breakdown, but as a natural, even beautiful response of an intricate system designed to protect its precious home. The lights are not breaking, they are burning brighter. The pathways are not failing, they are conducting a more urgent, more focused message. It is the mind's own gentle version of a weather alert, a soft, internal siren that sings of change, felt not as a scream, but as a heightened, shimmering whisper. From the profound peace of the self's quiet island, the awareness detects a subtle change in the inner climate. The still, clear air begins to quicken, charged with a new electric potential. The soft, background hum of the mind's activity sharpens in pitch, gaining a faint, tremulous urgency. This is not an invasion, but a natural shift in the weather of the self, the first gentle stirrings of what the outer world might call anxiety, but which here is simply a temporary quickening of the light. It begins not in the heart or the gut, but in the very pathways themselves. The gentle, golden roads that typically carry their firefly sparks with serene purpose now seem to brighten, their light intensifying from a soft glow to a keen, citrine shimmer. The sparks no longer glide, they flicker, their movement a rapid, stuttering dance that leaves faint afterimage trails in the charged air. It is not chaos, but a system-wide alert, a silent, luminous query sent through the network. What is that? Is something coming? The garden of feeling responds. A cluster of flowers that typically radiate a steady, contented gold now pulse with a vibrant, alert orange. Their light does not dim with fear, but vibrates with a heightened sensitivity, their petals trembling as if touched by a swift, unseen breeze. They broadcast not terror, but a wave of keen awareness, a readiness that is both exhilarating and unnerving. The air around them grows warmer, carrying a scent not of perfume, but of ozone and damp earth, the smell of the moment before a summer rain. The quiet pulse from the brainstem, the eternal drummer, remains steady, but its rhythm is now played against this new shimmering tension. The deep thrum is still there, a bedrock of stability, but overlaid upon it is a higher, faster counter-rhythm, a flutter, a silent hummingbird's wing of energy that courses through the system. It is the feeling of a heart prepared to beat faster, of breath held in anticipation. There is no narrative to this quickening, no story of danger. It is pure, unlabeled sensation, a gathering of resources, a focusing of attention, a biological poem of preparedness written in light and vibration. To observe it from the island of self is to feel it not as a breakdown, but as a natural, even beautiful response of an intricate system designed to protect its precious home. The lights are not breaking, they are burning brighter. The pathways are not failing, they are conducting a more urgent, more focused message. It is the mind's own gentle version of a weather alert, a soft, internal siren that sings of change, felt not as a scream but as a heightened, shimmering whisper. The heightened shimmer does not escalate into a breaking point. The system, having sent its silent query and found no immediate answer, does not panic. Instead, it begins the beautiful, innate work of self-regulation. The keen, citrine light along the pathways softens its intensity, the frantic flicker of the spark slowing to a gentler, rhythmic pulse. The urgent query is not answered, but gently retracted, its energy reabsorbed into the network's peaceful hum. From the deeper, ancient layers, a response arises. It is not a command but a soft, calming tide, a gentle shower of the blue-white pollen, the chemical emissaries of peace, drifts upward from the silent reservoirs below. They move with a slow, deliberate grace, settling upon the vibrating orange flowers in the garden of feeling. Where they land, the vibrant, alert light is not extinguished, but soothed, its sharp vibrations softening into a warm, steady amber glow of watchful calm. The petals still tremble, but now it is with a gentle release, not a tense anticipation. The air, which had grown warm and electric, now cools, carrying a new scent. The clean, soothing fragrance of lavender and fresh linen, the aroma of a threat passing. The higher, fluttering counterrhythm that had played against the brainstem's steady drum begins to syncopate, then slowly, gracefully, falls back into harmony with the deep, foundational thrum. The two rhythms merge once more into a single, resonant piece, the silent hummingbird's wing folding back into rest. The entire inner landscape seems to exhale. The lights that had burned so brightly now dim to their customary soft glow, their sharp edges blurred once more by the gentle atmosphere. The pathways resume their serene traffic, the firefly sparks gliding with their usual purposeful calm. The quickening was not a flaw, but a feature, a demonstration of the system's exquisite sensitivity, and the calming is its profound wisdom. To witness this return to equilibrium is to feel a deep, reassuring trust in the mind's resilience. The storm was never a true storm, but a brief, intense gust of wind that stirred the leaves and then moved on. The calm that follows is not a void, but a richer, more appreciated peace. The silence after a sudden noise feeling deeper and more sacred than the silence that came before. It is the quiet proof that this inner world is not fragile but robust, not prone to breakdown but designed for graceful recovery. The light softens, the whispers return to their gentle cadence, and peace is not just restored but deepened, having been gently, tenderly earned. From the quiet, deepened peace following the inner storm's gentle passing, the awareness expands, its focus softening to encompass not just the individual lights and pathways, but the breathtaking totality of their connection. The specific functions, the garden's blooms, the library's orbs, the cortex's seed, blend into a single living tapestry of unimaginable complexity. This is the moment of awe, the dawning comprehension of the infinite network itself, a silent universe where every spark is a star and every pathway a constellation in the making. The air itself seems woven from light, thick with the soft, golden potential of a trillion conversations happening at once. To try and count the individual connections would be like trying to count the atoms in a breath. The mind can only apprehend it as a whole, a vast, humming, luminous web where every point touches every other, a neural cosmos contained within the silent dark. Each junction is not a mere intersection, but a possibility, a choice point where a thought could turn toward joy or sorrow, toward memory or invention, each potential path glowing with its own soft, unwritten future. The sheer scale is not intimidating but humbling, a beautiful, quiet mystery. The light does not glare but pulses in a slow, tidal rhythm, a collective breath of the entire system. With each gentle swell, a wave of soft radiance flows through the network, illuminating, for a heartbeat, the incomprehensible number of threads. They are not cold wires but living fibers, each one a story, the memory of a learned skill, the imprint of a cherished face, the ghost of a forgotten fear, the pathway of a habitual kindness. Together, they form the soft, glowing map of a singular human experience. The texture of this space is one of impossible depth and softness, like drifting through the heart of a nebula made of warm silk and starlight. There is a scent, too, the clean, sweet odor of ozone and blooming jasmine, the fragrance of pure potential. And a sound, the gentlest imaginable hum, the collective whisper of 100 billion synapses, each a silent yes, no, or maybe, contributing to the endless, quiet music of being. To be here is to understand that every quiet thought, every tender feeling, every fleeting memory is not an isolated event, but a note in this eternal, internal symphony. The mind is not a machine with parts, but a single breathing entity, a galaxy of soft light where every spark influences every other, where a forgotten afternoon from childhood still gently tugs on the strings of a decision made today. It is a boundless potential, a quiet mystery held in the delicate cradle of the skull, a universe of connection that is, for now, and always peacefully, wonderfully yours. The infinite, humming tapestry of connection begins to soften, its countless threads of light gently receding from the forefront of awareness like stars fading at dawn. The profound awe at the mind's boundless network settles into a deep, quiet gratitude. The journey, having spiraled through the intricate wonders of the inner world, now turns its focus to the one constant that has underpinned it all, the simple, rhythmic anchor of the breath. The awareness, which had expanded to encompass galaxies of neural light, now gently contracts, drawing back from the vastness to the intimate, familiar sensation of the body. The luminous landscapes, the cortex's shimmering sea, the hippocampus's quiet library, the limbic garden's moonlit blooms, do not vanish, but recede into a soft, peripheral glow, their beautiful complexities now held as a cherished, known territory within the self. All that is left in the center of this soft dark is the breath, not as a biological function, but as a gentle tide. The deep, resonant thrum from the brainstem, the eternal drummer, is no longer a separate sound, but is felt as this tide itself. The inhale, a soft, swelling wave of presence. The exhale, a gentle, releasing sigh that lets go of all traveled paths and witnessed wonders. The air loses its previous sense of ozone, garden blooms, and old paper. It becomes simply air, clean and neutral, cool as it enters, warm as it leaves. The sensation is not in the lungs, but everywhere. A gentle expansion and contraction of the entire being. A silent pulse that needs no thought, no guidance, only observation. With each cycle, the sense of wonder and the deep calm of the journey are woven into the very fabric of this moment. The breath becomes a loom, integrating the memory of flight, the tenderness of a recalled afternoon, the quiet strength of the island of self, and the resilient peace after the inner storm. They are not examined but felt, absorbed back into the essential rhythm of being. The outside world, once deliberately softened, now begins to gently reappear, not as a clamor but as a soft, distant music, the sigh of wind, the murmur of life, the weight of the body fully felt against its resting place. The inner light and the outer sound meet at the threshold of the breath, blending into a single, peaceful whole. There is no longer an observer and an observed. There is only this, the gentle rise and fall, the silent, eternal conversation between the inner universe and the outer world, meeting in the simple, sacred act of breathing. The journey concludes not with an end, but with a return, a deep, peaceful appreciation for the miraculous, ordinary fact of this breath, this moment, this quiet, luminous home that is, and has always been your own.